candles is 1 week long, okay? So it looks like we had clear skies for about 2 weeks, and everyone thought it was the return of the bull market, and unfortunately... Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Jitsuko Toshiro, bringing you all of the cryptocurrency daily updates that you need. If you haven't already, follow me on Twitter. I am dropping like crazy in my followers. I think I had a bunch of bots following me, so they're dropping like crazy. So if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter. I give real-time updates there. And then lastly, follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel where I give you guys pretty good content. If you're watching this from YouTube, thank you for watching. Click that subscribe button. I am doing a giveaway, 30 more subscribers, and you automatically enter a chance to win $100 in USDT. So let's go ahead and dive in. Today's going to be a weekly update on Bitcoin. Right now it is 9:34 Pacific Standard Time, and we're gonna go over some of the price action in Bitcoin. We had a quiet week last week, and let's see what happens. So let's go ahead and start off with the top down type of look. As you can see here on the weekly, we had a strong weekly close. Like I said, we were going to close here around this 23 to 24,000 level. We haven't broke that $24,000 level yet. Let me mark that on my screen for you guys. We haven't broke it yet, and I think once we do, it's clear skies to 30. So keep that in mind. This is going to be a very important week for Bitcoin. I think 24,000, which is the line in the sand right now, is basically going to determine whether or not we are going to head higher. Now, we are losing some thickness on these candles. As you can see, the past 3 weeks, so the first week to the upside was a massive move. Then we had another week which was kind of a slight smaller move, and then now here we have kind of like a baby move. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to get a big move this week, or if it's not a big move, if it's a small volume candle, I can see it's actually reversing here all the way to 19,000. So keep that in mind when we're moving forward with this price action, okay? We are at crossroads. This is resistance. We are facing heavy resistance. We are in a bear market still. And I think that you got to keep that in mind when you're looking at these charts, is we're still in a bear market. Things are still kind of shaky. And even though we had a big move to the upside, things can go south. So let's go ahead and mark our resistance here on the weekly. As you can see, we had a confirmation 2 weeks ago of us moving higher. I mentioned to you guys, so I want to remind you guys, this was 2 weeks ago. If you guys watched my videos, these are the only videos I recommend you guys watch. If you're not going to watch any, is the weekly updates, because what it does is it sets the ground for you for the rest of the week. Now I want to show you guys something very interesting here that I found in the charts. So we haven't really broke out of this range for about a year. Okay, so as you can see here, we've been messing with this resistance for about a year, and we finally broke out of it. One thing I do warn you guys is sometimes these breakouts, they tend to reverse on you. And I've seen this happen in the past with Bitcoin, and unfortunately it traps a lot of people. And let me show you guys an example of this in the past, where it looked like it was going to break to the upside, but unfortunately it did not. And that was here back in its last all-time high. You can see here on the weekly, Bitcoin was about in this range for about 6 months. And what we had was basically a strong move to the upside. We had two I would say, I would count this as one touch. So two main touches here on this resistance. And then we finally got that clear break. So it looked like we had clear skies. And remember, each of these candles is 1 week long, okay? So it looks like we had clear skies for about 2 weeks. And everyone thought it was the return of the bull market. And unfortunately, what we saw was weakening of these candles and then a follow through on the sell-off, eventually leading us to our all-time lows in 2018. These things take a long time to play out, and I think that's where we're at right now. This is going to be a while until things play out to the downside. So keep that in mind. Let me recap. We had a move like this in the past. After an all-time high, we had about almost 6 months of just moving sideways, 4 months. And then we finally broke out, had 2 weeks to the upside, and then we moved down. Now take a look at this move here. It was about 30, 40, 50% from the low to the high, okay? 50% move. Keep that in mind. Now I see some similarities here. So you have about a 50% move from the downside all the way up here. And it looks like, we have a clear break just as we did here. And we have 2 touches as we do here. So history is repeating itself. We are in the middle of a bear market. You have to keep this in mind when you're moving forward. So look, 2 touches here, 1, 2, 3, 4 total. And then we have this downward sloping trend, and we have a clear break for about 2 weeks. And it looks like we have a clear break for about 2 weeks. So I think these things are looking very similar, and we might be setting up for a sell-off. Okay, so now the question is, how do we play this, right? It looks like it could be toppy. We have weakening candles on the weekly, and it's been 2 weeks, 3 solid weeks of green candles, actually 4, and now we're at these crossroads. Well, you can note another thing, and this is that we're at a key resistance. I think that people are keeping their eyes on this resistance, and I don't think we're clear of it up until we break past 26. So 24 is the line in the sand. I do think we will break $24,000. That might happen this week. We might go up higher. Now the question is it going to be a sustainable move? Is this move going to hold, or are we going to get rejected? So I think a clear indication that this move is going to be a good move to the upside is a clearing of 26,000. This will get you above this key weekly red bar that pretty much sent us all the way down here. So 26,000 is the line in the sand. However, my bias is going to remain bearish until we break that. And the reason being is because we've seen these things happen in the past with Bitcoin, especially in 2018. I actually do specifically remember trading during this time. And I remember one thing for certain was I thought this was the start of the bull market again. And I was actually fooled twice here. So I was fooled here, and I was also fooled on this move to the upside. So these things happen, unfortunately, when it comes to trading. Is you feel like the sentiment is very green and dandy, but that's when actually the selling off continues. Another thing I'd like to point out on the daily is a few things that I personally noted, and I think that you guys should all take note of, is the 200-day SMA. So let me pull that up for you guys really quick. The 200-day SMA is a very important indicator when it comes to these long-term strategies. And I think that that's a key thing here right now. So take a look here. You can see that we broke above it. So now I'm going to make an argument for the bulls. So we have that key resistance here. We have the SMA. We clearly were rejected from it. And usually when you flip it, if you don't respect the level, you actually end up moving higher. So the move is already, I think, done. So what's going to happen is basically the SMA is going to come here. It's going to move sideways a bit. I think what will happen is we get rejected here, actually. We come back to retest that SMA. That is going to be something to keep your eyes on. We clearly broke it without any signs of resistance. It's kind of a lagging indicator, unfortunately, but it's a good one if you want to know the overall trend of things. Now, we could actually just slice right back under it. So be careful when it comes to it retesting it. We could oscillate here for a bit and then move up. So this is where we're at with the SMA. There's another one I want to show you guys. One of my personal favorites is the EMAs, the 20, the 50, and the 200 EMA. Monkey. There we go. So here it is. The blue line is the 200-day EMA. And I like this one because it specifically is showing something that I've noticed in the past. And one of the things that the 200-day EMA does is it likes to hold sometimes. So you can see here it holds, but it's going to get chopped through. So let me explain what I mean by this. We have a trend. Let's establish the trend. The trend is up. So let's look from here, this point on. The trend is up for Bitcoin, right? And then we clearly broke past the EMA without looking back. Look at that. So we break past it. Just look at the blue one. We break past it. Now we're coming back to retest. The thing with the retesting of the EMAs is it's going to spend a couple days on the EMA. So remember, we're on the daily time frame. Every candle is 1 day. And we spend a couple days before you can basically say this is going to hold as support. 200-day EMAs, the blue line, we test it for a couple days. It looks like it's going to hold. So we move up. And then we come back here to retest. But unfortunately, now you can't hold. 200 EMA now is working as resistance. Remember what I said. When you're testing the EMA, it's going to take a couple days. You're going to consolidate for a few. But if you can't break above it and hold the trend, you're actually going to head down lower. So that's exactly what happened with the EMA. We come here, we try to test it, get rejected. We keep getting rejected. We finally break out. It looks like it's going to hold and we get that sell off. Now it looks like this is what the case is. Remember, we have to test it for a couple days. We haven't tested it yet. So we don't say goodbye to the EMA. We actually have to retest it. So we are going to retest it. We're going to see if we can hold it for a couple days. If we could hold it for a couple days and move up, that's when I'll say, okay, you know what, I'm flipping green. We have to come back down though. We have to come test it. If we don't test it, then it's going to be fluffy price action that's going to lead you nowhere. Let me show you another time of when it broke past it and it never looked back. I'm sorry, when it broke past it and it retested it. So the EMA has to be retested. You can see here we broke past it back before the 2020 and 2021 bull run. We kind of just sat here, consolidated, moved up, retested one more time before we went parabolic. So we have to hold. Now we broke past it. We never really tested it for a couple days. I want to see basically price action hover here at these crossroads, hold well. Then I can say, you know what, I'm going all in. Boom, we get the next move to the higher side. So that's what I wanted to say about the EMAs today. Last thing I want to show you guys, key area of indication of whether or not we're going to move up or down is this beautiful relative strength index. The relative strength index is a very powerful tool. However, you have to use it in moderation. So you have to understand that you can't just use it just because it's telling you there's bearish divergence or bullish divergence, oversold or overbought. You have to wait for price action to commit to the actual indication. So take a look here. We have higher price action. I'm drawing a line through the resistance of Bitcoin, and I'm showing you guys that price action is going higher. As you can see here, we have a massive move to the upside, almost parabolic. Let me draw it with my marker. So we had a parabolic move to the upside, and now we're getting these wicks, boom, to the upside, and we keep wicking above. And then one thing you need to know is the RSI is actually sloping down. So this is a clear bearish divergence on the price action and the relative strength index, and it's basically telling you that there's less buyers at higher prices. If we consolidate up here and we keep getting higher price action and lower a relative strength index, then I am still committed to saying we are going to move lower eventually. And I'm so adamant on that until it's invalidated, because the relative strength index is basically telling you who's buying at these prices, and right now there really isn't many people. And I think that the reason being is because there's a lot of fear in the market and the bear market is still in full effect. With that being said, you have to take into consideration that the price can still move higher even though the relative strength index is trending lower. Let me explain what I mean by that, and I do want you guys to understand that these words that I'm using to describe the price action are very important, and the relative strength index are very important. This is a key moment in this video. Take a look here at the price action. It's moving up. We can establish it with that resistance we have the relative strength index sloping down. We can definitely get a sell-off, kind of like how we had a sell-off here, and then we can move higher. So take a look at what happens with the price, with the relative strength index as that happens. So you basically move up, boom, and then the relative strength index moves up, and now you get a little sell-off. This little sell-off actually held as support. So look what happens with the relative strength index. It's going to hold. It's going to try to come up higher, which as I'm drawing up here, but it's going to respect my line of resistance. So as it's respecting this line of resistance, unfortunately, the price action is moving up. So if you're in a short position down here when you think this sold off, well, good luck, because now you just got wiped out. The reason why I say you have to wait for confirmation is exactly this. We are trying to track the relative strength index in real time. This is something that's very difficult because you don't know when the top is going to come in. All I know is that the price is getting weaker and my long-term bias is still bearish, which means that I know we're going to go down, but the price is going to wick you out. So if you are over leveraged and you're trying to short this price action, yes, you're trying to catch the trend. The trend is definitely down, but you're going to get wiped out, and that's going to push the prices higher. So as long as it's obeying this resistance, I'm happy, because what's happening is we're actually creating more divergence in the market, and eventually what's going to happen is this is going to give way. We're going to have a lot of selling occur, and that's going to be represented here, and that's when the divergence will play out, and then we can go from there. But until then, you can actually still get wiped out clean. So what can happen is we can get a sell-off for a couple of days, but we can hold, and then we can move up higher. So then what would happen is we'd move down on the initial sell-off. Then when we move higher, yes, the relative strength index is lower, but the price action went higher, creating more divergence. And it's just hard to trade in that type of situation. But the relative strength index is still showing that we are trending down. So I think that you have to keep that in mind when you're trading. And these things take a few days. I've tweeted this many times. It's going to take a few days for this to play out. And it's not going to be overnight. It's actually going to take a few weeks or so. So this is exactly where we're at with the price action of Bitcoin. We are at crossroads. Take a look here. One more thing I want to point out is when we're at these $24,000 levels, 25, 26, you can actually get wicks above, come back down. And this is going to create divergence, but you can see here it's a key area of resistance, and it's a key area of resistance right here. So you got to be careful when you're trading in these ranges, especially here this $24,000, $25,000 range. We're overbought on the RSI. I personally wouldn't long in any of these situations just because it's so overbought. You got to give it some time. Wait for the EMAs to be retested. If things hold well on the retest, then you go long, you flip your bias. But right now, we did have a parabolic move up. Don't worry about it. It's going to come back down. Don't lose your money over something that looks so impulsive. You got to be patient. You got to wait. You got to be poised. And then you can come back in. You can trade it. And if it's going to go up, congratulations. If you catch it, if it gets rejected, congratulations. You weren't in a trade. You're actually playing it safe, or you caught a short. So that's pretty much it for today's video, you guys. I can look at it on the 4 hour actually before I go. And I want to actually reiterate the RSI here. So you can look at it on the 4 hour time frame. I'm going to draw some the divergence here on the 4 hour, and you can see like the price action all the way from basically $24,000 has been just insane. It's been an insane move to the upside, but we've had a lot of weakness in the relative strength index. I think we will come back down. It might be this week, it might be next. Keep in mind, we have the FOMC meeting coming up. That's going to be another motivation for the market to move up. So, and if you don't know that, I'll make a video about it. Basically, though, to sum it up, the FOMC meetings, which are the US Securities and Commissions meetings, they are pre-market pumpers, and I can show you guys that with historical evidence. I'll show you guys that in another video. But right now, this is basically it for Bitcoin. This is the weekly outlook video. If you guys like my content, follow me on Twitter, please. I left my Twitter tag down in the description down below. And if you guys like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am currently at 69 subscribers. I personally don't mind it if we just stay here. One of my favorite numbers. No, I'm just kidding. But if you guys like my content, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am over here on YouTube creating shorts. And this is it for Bitcoin. Good luck trading, you guys. I wish you guys the best of luck. And hope you guys like this video today. Thank you.